Good morning, Jan. And Yvonne. Hello, everybody. I wanted to make sure I was nicely centered because I'm going to attempt to stamp sitting down, but sometimes that could or couldn't be a failure. So we'll see how it goes for us. Clean just a couple little things up really quickly. I have some really good ideas that I want to share with you all. However, I definitely won't be able to fit all of them in today. And I do apologize. I know it's been a little bit since I've seen you guys. I do miss you. School started, and even kind of right before school started, it's just been a doozy of a week. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but like when you get back in the swing of things and then all of a sudden, boom, nope, the swing is gone. Or it's like a swing and a miss. Hi, Jean. Hi, Linda. Hi, Jewel. Good morning, Penny. You're baking in Florida. We're baking in Maryland too. We've had a really, really, really hot week. We're definitely in a very severe heat wave. Let's see. I think I missed somebody else on there. Terry and Jan and Marlene. Hi, Kelly. Thank you guys all for joining me today. Hi, Tony from Pennsylvania. Thanks. You're not too far. I was thinking the other day I was going to actually post a photo, so I'll post it when I'm finished, as long as I remember to do it. But I was driving, and I'm going to see if she pops on here because it'll make more sense if she does. But I was driving to Walmart on Wednesday evening. I was by myself. And if she's on here, my girl Debbie Allen, her theme song came on. And I screenshotted the theme song because I thought, wow, that's pretty crazy when you're listening to the radio and it reminds you of people that are watching your stamping videos with you, which is pretty funny. Hi, Judy. Oh, thank you guys for all the shares. Jennifer, it's cold in Australia. Holy moly. That's right, because you guys are opposite of us. We're in the dead end of summer. I guess you're in the dead end of winter there on the other half of the globe, on the bottom hemisphere, which is pretty cool. Hi, Amy. All right, so what we're going to do today, I'm going to move this over here for a minute because I can see the comments a little bit better when I do it that way. Oops, I did do a few things ahead of time, only because I was trying to get a couple things cut out, but I'm going to tell you a couple tips for today. I do have the Forever Fern, and I believe this is Forever Greenery bundle. And Debbie Allen, I was just talking about you. You'll have to go back and watch the beginning. Were your ears burning? I will post the picture when I'm done. I'm going to do my very best. Today is my niece's birthday party. Yesterday was her birthday. She turned 8. So we're going to her birthday party. So I will try to post everything later today. But I have, this is, and I don't know if this is or isn't a bundle. Gosh, I'm such a terrible person when it comes to remembering those kind of things. Let me move this. I cleaned my stamp desk and I reorganized so I have more space, which will hopefully mean less things falling over all over the place. But the bundles, a lot of the bundles did retire, so they're not bundleable anymore. Let's see. I think this one is one that you have to buy separately now. Yep. So Forever Fern is the stamp set, and then Forever Greenery is the die set. But the cool part is, if you are ever at a loss, because this does happen to everyone, so don't think you're the only person it happens to, because that is not true, because it happens to me quite a lot. So you know what I do is, I go surfing on Pinterest for a card, and I'll kind of look up like the theme. So for example, today I looked up fall, Stampin' Up! Fall 2021. And sometimes it'll show you stuff that's old. Sometimes it'll show you stuff that is current. But usually what I'll do is I'll look at something and I'll get an idea, which is what I did for this card. But I'm not using much of the same stuff. And we're going to try to change it. So what I explained was to try to change it to Christmas backgrounds, but not Christmas cards. So that way, hopefully you can get some more use out of some of your Christmas products that you may or may not have purchased already. But the other point of my story is, when you look at the stamp site, there a lot of times will give you lots of ideas. So for example, this is a great stamp set, and it's got a really, really vivid image when you stamp it. because it's a distinctive stamp. So it almost looks like when you stamp the images like they're 3D. So what they showed you is there's 3 different ways you make this card. This is a very simple card. This one is simple, but they added a background layer, a die cut in the same color, so tone on tone, and then they die cut these and just popped them up on squares. And then you can see with this one, they also embossed the layers. They added some die cuts as well. So lots of different stuff. They also added in watercolor pencils. They touched it up a little bit with that. You can see on this top image here as well, they did it with the blender pen. So there's so many different things you can use with really, really limited supplies. So one stamp set and die set, and you add watercolor pencils. Let's see, we have 4 inks here at the most, still same 4 inks, and blender pens. So you can get a lot out of it. So make sure when you are stumped, just either Pinterest or Google search. Put in your stamp set that you want to use, or put in your theme idea. It really does help to unblock you, because you can look at something and it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact thing that you're looking for, and you'll get some ideas. So this is, I really love the catalog just for that reason. So if you don't happen to have a demonstrator, or if you don't happen to have a catalog and I'm your demonstrator, please let me know, because I'll send you one out. But it's got a lot of just card ideas, and you can even take, for example, like you can look at a different card layout and then think, okay, this is great because they have something on the side, and you could create using just these different stamps and layer it a different direction. Have a DSP piece in the back, or actually they made this one with the Stampin' Blends. There's so many things, so many ideas, and you don't, I know sometimes it's hard to look past the stamp that's there, but you really can change things to be for whatever stamp set you're using. So keep that in mind. With that in mind, I will say, I think we have a Christmas section in here. It's not very big, but in my other book, which is downstairs, I have them all separated. So my apologies. Holidays, here we go. So there are some holiday stamp sets in here. We do have the Festive Foliage, which I'm going to show you this. This is the one that we're kind of using for the background today. Amy, I am right with you. And the worst part is when you're in a crafting high, but you don't have the time to do it. I think that's almost worse than being in a slump, because then you have all these ideas and you forget what to do with them. I did find I have a whole bunch of ideas for this Evergreen Elegance, so I'm going to try to do a group video on this, like with a couple different cards at a time, but I'm just going to have to get back into a better schedule now that school's in, so we won't be live during the day unless we happen to have off, or if we have a half day. So we do have a half day on Monday, so I don't know if I can fit one in or not. But we also have, there's another stamp set, so you have the Festive Foliage, and then they kind of mixed up the background stamps, which, being honest, and I'm going to try not to make this too much because I don't like to talk too much in the beginning, but I feel like it's all useful stuff, so hopefully you will feel that way too. But there's also the Daisy stamp set, which isn't back here, which can kind of be a little confusing because you're like, I felt like there was another stamp set. It's actually somewhere. I think actually the Daisy one might be in the holiday catalog now that I think about it. But anyway, there are more than just these 5 background stamps. You have the Foliage and we have the Daisies. So unfortunately, sometimes you have to look at it, which kind of makes the online a little bit easier because they're separated, but then it also doesn't tell you have coordinating dies. So I'm sorry. Sometimes you can win some and you lose a lot more. But we're going to get started today with a simple version of this card. Now, I did get my Stamparatus out only because I figured for this to try to make sure that I got a good impression on it, which I'm going to show you one of the things we made. I have this as a backup. You don't really necessarily have to use this, but it's there if you need it. It makes it easier, especially if you goofed something up with inking. And what I did, I'm going to show you a couple of these. I'll scoot this over. What I did ahead of time is, and I also got folders because I thought maybe for the second version of this we could do something with embossing folders. So these two come in a pack. I should mention that. These are for the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but you can use them with a bigger machine, or I also have the Big Shot still. So you can emboss this twice if you wanted a bigger card. So this one is really pretty. It's very vivid pine bows. And then this other one is snowflakes, which are really pretty as well. And then the other one we have is the Evergreen, I believe this is Evergreen Forest. And it's a really nice, it's got a couple different, it's got some embossing and debossing kind of mixed together. So this gives you a lot of it packs a lot of punch for one folder. So what I started with today is Sahara Sand, and it's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So I'm just going to fold this one in half, and we can move on to a different color for the second one if we want to. There's my folder. Hi, Donna. Hi, Dorothy. Dorothy, you should be writing from Kansas, not from central Wisconsin. Did you take your house somewhere else? I'm just joking with you, Dorothy. I love The Wizard of Oz. That was one of my mom's favorite movies. So anytime I can do a Wizard of Oz one, I am all over it. So what I started out with, I kind of went with the design. And again, I just looked at an idea on Pinterest. I didn't click farther. So I had these 2 smaller pieces, which ended up just being a little too small. And then what I did was I had a full ink of Sahara Sand, which I didn't really like. It was too dark. And then I decided that the piece needed to be a little bit larger, and I changed to Crumb Cake. So this is Crumb Cake on Sahara Sand, and this piece measures 2 7/8 by 4 3/4. So I'm going to write that down because once I stick this, I won't be able to look at it again. So you're kind of going to center this piece here. And again, we're going for this one as kind of our simple card. So what I did, once again, just in case you missed it, this is the Festive Foliage stamp. I did it with my Stamparatus. And also, just to be honest with you, I know you can see there's some variance on the inking here. I was stamping on top of something else. You guys know how sometimes I stamp all over the place. So this isn't a very detailed image because I was doing my half butt stamping. So there's that. And then what I went ahead and did also to save time, but we will do this again, is I added some adhesive sheet to black cardstock. And also you can see I did some here to Evening Evergreen because I was trying to go for something that had Christmas but wasn't really Christmas colors. So we're going for maybe a masculine or an any occasion type of a card. So I went ahead and I die cut some of these, and I'll show you just the different pieces I die cut. I was kind of just willy-nillying stuff because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So the one nice part about the die cuts are it die cuts it, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but it die cuts and it also embosses. So there's little lines here as well. So it has a lot of detail to it. So that's pretty cool, I think, about that part anyway. So the other thing I'm going to do, so again, this is going to be, I know it doesn't look simple because I've got a lot of stuff out already, but it's going to be the simple version of the cards that we're going to do. So I'm going to just pick, I'm going to go with, I think, black up here, and then I'm going to use the smaller leaf kind of over here. And then I brought these little 2, I don't really even know what these are. They kind of look like you probably could make a wreath with these now that I think about it. Maybe it'd be a little bit small. So if you did a bigger one, you could probably overlap if you want to do a wreath builder. So one more would complete it. But I brought these 2 because I thought maybe I could put one at the bottom. So what we're going to do, again, you could do Christmas if you wanted to. You could just do a whole different color coordination theme. So not Christmas colors except for maybe the green, and make a Christmas card. But the other thing, and then same, we also have Holly Jolly Wishes, which has a lot of really nice Christmas sentiments. But this is a host stamp set that you can earn with a $300 personal order, or if you have a party order, the host can earn this stamp set. So this one is a really great, versatile group of stamps, and the reason I like it so much is it's got a lot of different varied fonts, which I think are really nice, and you can also snip some of them. So for example, I see you and you are wonderful. You could even just cut it and just do you are wonderful. There's a lot of, I really like just the mixing of the type and then the really pretty scripty cursive-y handwriting that is really pretty. Life is full of ups and downs. You could cut them. You could stamp one and put it on the front and put the second on the inside. Or you could even do it opposite. Hold on tight on the front. Life is full of ups and downs on the inside. So it's very, very, very versatile. So for this first one, what I think I'm going to do because it kind of jumped out as me, is the You Are Wonderful. So I'm not going to do the I See You. I'm just going to do You Are Wonderful. So we're going to do a little trimming. Now, for the first one, what we'll do is we'll do it very tonal and tone. Okay, so I'm going to, let me move these over because I don't think I need those. I'm going to grab a block. You know me, I'm kind of always willy-nilly with my block grabbing. And I'm going to do this so it stands out. I'm going to use just this scrap of Sahara sand that I have, and I'm going to do it with the Evening Evergreen. Did I move it? Oh, it's over here. The Evening Evergreen ink. So you could do this a couple ways. If you wanted to, you could stamp it and trim it. The other thing you can do, and I just put this away. If you have these are pretty handy. So just a Post-it note, I'll show you how to do that. You could also use, and I was going to get this down and I forgot, so let me grab it. Post-it tape. This is really, really, really handy. I get this on Amazon, carries it. This is the 1-inch. They also have, they have different sizes of it. So this is another great one too. So what you're going to do is, I'm just going to mask off the words I see you. And this, let's see. A little bit big, but okay. So I'm gonna just, I put that over top of the one spot. You know what, I'm gonna rip this a little bit just so I have a little less to work with. So I just kind of took off that bottom piece. I just want to make sure, oops, I wanted to get rid of that one too. I'm covering up to You Are Wonderful. I'm going to tell you one other way you could do this too. Ink that up. Flip it and look. So we have You Are Wonderful. I will admit this is the first time I've stamped this stamp, and this is a juicy ink pad, so hopefully it's going to turn out okay. But we're going to just go to the side. And I'm not standing up, so I'm going to try my best to do it straight. It's a little bit crooked. So worst case scenario, I'm going to show you one more thing. This is another way that you can do it. Let me grab my mist. You can also use your Stampin' Right marker if you wanted to. Whoops, got that a little crazy. And you could do ink just one part of it as well. You could do that too. But I'm gonna do, let me grab a piece of tape for this one. The Post-it note tape does stick really well even if the thing is wet. So I'm gonna try to ink it much, whoops. Look, made me a liar. I'm going to try to ink it a little bit more gently. Let's see. Oh Lord, I dropped my thing in there and everything. All right, let's see if I can move this up to the other side. Oh, dang it. You know what? I'm just going to use my other one and I'll trim it up a little bit. Well, that's the stamping with me after I haven't stamped in a while. Fun times. Fun times. Okay. So then let's close this up. And I have that little small guillotine trimmer, but it's just not big enough for me. I always end up cutting stuff crooked. So let's see if we can even this out a little bit. One. Must have missed a little spot there. And let's see. Look at that. Well, except I almost cut off that little curly Q. I did pretty good for fudge cutting that one. Okay, so to bring just a little bit of something into this, again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I'm going to grab, and I have all of my DSP over here. Which one is this one? This is called Harvest something, I believe. Yes, Harvest Meadow. So I'm going to just bring in a little piece, and I'm going to attempt to do something that kind of matches. So I could do Evergreen. I don't know if this one has Evergreen, though. Or we might do... We could do a little bit of the soft succulent just to kind of tie something in. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece in half. And that way I'll have a 6x6, and that way I won't feel so bad about trimming it off. All right, so cut this in half, and I'm going to cut about a 3/4 of an inch piece by, what is that? That is 4 1/4. I'll do by 4. Like that. This one we're going to trim up a little bit. That's the other side. The other side I could even add a little piece on, but it's a little bit too bright with these colors, so I'm going to skip that. So we'll keep that one for now. And I'm going to take my little paper snips. This is so weird. For this thing, all it keeps telling me is Donna is watching. I know Donna's watching. She's here. And I have no other recent comments about the, except for the fact that Donna is watching. It's told me about 800 times. Donna, are you still watching? Because I'm not sure if you are or aren't watching. It's just a silly. All right, so I'm going to snip this just to flag the end. And, well, that turned out pretty well. This one I'm going to keep straight. Look at that, 4 more times. Hi, Lisa. Good morning. From Wisconsin. I've been to Wisconsin before. That was a fun state. I love cheese, so that was probably one of my more favorite things to do. All right, I'm going to use the, I believe this is gingham. I could be wrong, but I'm going to use a piece of this. And I know you might be thinking, like, what in the world are we doing with this card? But stick with me. Put that over here for now. Not drop it in the coffee if I can help it. So we're going to put this one together. And again, I did put adhesive sheet on the back of this, so it'll make it way easier to stick. So again, this is just the simple card. I'm going to grab some liquid glue. And I'm wanting to have a very narrow border at the bottom and a little bit more at the top. So, and a narrow border on the side. Let's see if that looks partially straight. That looks pretty good. You know, Facebook's always changing stuff, so I guess it really wants you to know when people are watching you. That's crazy. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to put this down. Now you can see when I die cut this, I was trying to get the most out of my paper, so not everything has adhesive on it. So I'm going to peel off my adhesive backing from where I have it. If you are not as thrifty as I am, you will make sure that you die cut on whole sheets. However, if I am making an educated guess on any crafter, I think we all save ridiculous scraps that we probably know we're never going to use. So I'm sure everybody does this at some point, right, with their little piecing together their scraps. So I'm going to put just a couple little dots of liquid glue on the bottom parts where I missed. One more. Okay. And just a little bit. And if I do, for any reason, because again, I'm sitting down, I don't usually ever sit down. If I go out of frame, please somebody yell at me so I know. So we're going to put this one kind of up here. Like that. Definitely when you use the adhesive sheet, it's super helpful because you don't have to dot all of it with glue. The crap straps. Wendy, that's hilarious. I love it. You know what? I have so many, and I finally had to come to Jesus with myself that I knew I was going to use them, and I had to throw them away. So I threw a whole bunch of them out. But you're so right, the crap straps. That's I love that. That's hilarious. It's so appropriately named too. I think that's the best part. All right, so with this last piece here that I wanted to put down, I'm going to kind of eyeball this until I figure out my layout. Oh, Wendy, that was a good one. So I think I might put this here. And then this, we might need to trim a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to trim this up just a smidge. And then this here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take my adhesive off of this. Oh my God, that's going to have me laughing for the rest of the day, the crap scraps. Wait till I tell my friend Rhonda. If she's on here watching, she'll get no, she's working today. Now that I think about it, she works at our local hospital, so you never know. Maybe she'll watch this on break. I'll have to tell her not to watch it or she'll be laughing the whole rest of her shift. So again, I just removed the adhesive for those, and the nice part is these all have some embossing to them, so they're not plain at all. They're really cute. I'm gonna pop this one up, but this I'm gonna just glue down flat. See if we have kind of like right about there. Looks pretty good. This one I need to trim just a smidge, so I'm just gonna, instead of trying to go fancy, I'm gonna just trim straight. Let's see what this looks like. A little bit more over here. Take about a 1/8 of an inch off. Oops. You tossed out 2 bins of scraps last week, just no more room, and you use them for scrap. Cindy, didn't you feel good though? It's kind of weird, because when you finally like give yourself permission to throw this stuff away, and then you realize you didn't really need them anyway, and you probably cleared off space and gave yourself like some mental space of not feeling guilty about not using them. I know, it is so crazy, isn't it? Just the stuff we do. But then again, sometimes people do make, I've seen people make some pretty amazing cards with scraps, so I guess it depends on your room, your scrap storage area. All right, so I'm gonna put that here. And it does have little teeny pieces off, but I'm okay with that. And then we're gonna put this one up on. I think I might do yeah, I have the foam strips, so I'm just gonna use. I'm sure I have a little piece of something here. Let's see. Could probably use more than one strip because this is a little slim, but Wendy, I think you win with the best comment of the day. I love it. All right, so I'm gonna press this down. So we do have foam, we have dimensionals, we have foam sheets, we have foam strips, but they are not all the same height. So don't use them interchangeably. You gotta kind of pick one. You either pick the foam or you pick, let's see, I think I wanted to do this. Let me see. I think up. So I'm kind of lining it up to the side. You know what, I might do this one lined up to that layer back there instead. See what that looks like. Oop, it's a little crooked. Yeah, I kind of like that. And I'm just going to give this, since I know it's dry now, I'm going to give it a nice press. Okay, so there's one. Granted, I did make a little bit of this before we started, so when we make our second one, it could take a little bit longer, but I'm actually going to change the background layer, but I wanted to show you something else that I think you can do. So let me just triple check on this one. So for my next trick, I'm going to use some of the cork paper. So, oh, you could also use it with that gold vellum. If you can stamp on this. You probably can, but that might require a little bit more research. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this up. Let me grab. And I think I might go, what do you guys think? Do you think I should stick with the Sahara sand, or should I go to crumb cake? Because I want to get my background paper, but I'm going to cut this layer in the meantime. So 2 7/8 by 4 3/4. So I'm just going to cut my 2 7/8 inch piece first by 4 3/4. Now this one is so neutral. If you wanted to, you can even add like a little piece on the inside for that one. So it is a pretty nice layout, isn't it, Tony? It's not really like super complicated, which I think is nice. And I've been trying to do that. Crumb cake is your go-to. Same here. I do love crumb cake. Since you answered first, I'm going to go with crumb cake. We'll see. We'll see. I know that Sahara sand I really, really like as a cardstock, but the ink color is just, I don't know, is it just me? It's such a weird color. It's like a greenish brown, which is just, I don't know, man. Sometimes it's such a weird shade. All right, so here we'll do this one. We'll switch it up for this. Put this on the side. So this one instead is gonna be, I'll put this over here for a minute. Kind of the same, but a little bit different. So what we're going for is this. Now, I'm going to try something. I don't know if this is or isn't going to work, but we're going to need a darker color. So what I think I might actually get out is espresso. Hopefully I won't ruin this piece by doing this, but let's see. I'm going to take, where was it? That one is going to be too much, so I'm going to go with this first. Because I was thinking if you stamped, I'm going to stamp this. I'm going to try this once more. Worst case scenario, I'm wasting paper and you're not. So let's go on that thought pattern. Let me just move these couple little things over. I am going to use my Stamparatus only because I don't want to goof it up since I'm using paper I really, really like. All right, so we're going to take that out. I just have my little scrap. And what I'm going to do is, I did this before, I'm going to put just a teeny bit of the Stampin' Seal Plus on there. I mean, it is like such a small, it's probably like 1/4 of an inch of a piece. And I'm going to just try to take a little bit of the sticky so it doesn't super stick to my paper. So I'm going to stick this down because, and the reason I'm doing this is because we want this pattern over the whole thing, so you can't really use a magnet to hold it in place. I'm going to stick it like that. Pick it up. Close it and pick it up. Okay. Then I'm going to ink Early Espresso. And the reason I chose that is because I kind of figured it would be dark enough that you will see it. So we'll see. I don't know. Wait and see how it turns out if you're watching this on the replay. I know we're live now, but wait and see how it turns out before you go ahead and do it. All right, so we're going to give that a press. Let's see. I just missed a little bit at the top. Give a little CPR there. Actually, that kind of turned out cool. Now, you might not like it because it is, the cork paper is kind of pretty in itself, but kind of turned out cool. And it's interesting to know that you can stamp on it. So that was really what I was trying to find out. So let me wipe this off. And we'll put this away. Kind of the same thing where I had this one craft rag that I used. And I probably could have like washed it and used it over again for something. But I have so many of them that, and it had paste on it with glitter and ink and all kinds of other nonsense. So I finally gave myself permission to throw it away. So I chucked that not that long ago either. All right, so we have this. Hopefully that will stay and not fall. So we have, oops, that's the wrong one. We have our base. We have this piece. So now I'm almost wondering if, and I'm going to have to see what it looks like, if we shouldn't go to espresso instead of black. You know what though? I had another piece. Where did it run to? Oh, here it is. I moved it. Forgot. Let's see what this looks like. Actually, you know, the espresso and the black aren't really that hard to tell, like that they're not the same. So we'll stick with it. But I think I might still do the same thing. So green, black, but we're going to pick a different pattern paper for this. And the reason I say is I feel like it needs like a little something to kind of brighten it up. So how about, I wonder how that will look, because this is pretty see-through, that vellum. Let's see what a piece of this looks like. It's, again, it's just going to be this little layer here, and then we'll pick a different ribbon. So this will be another something we can try. I'm going to cut this at 6 first. And then I think I did a 3/4 piece by, I believe I did 5. So we have that. Nope, that's too big. You know why not 5? Because it's only 4, Rach. The paper is 4 1/4, so I think this is probably closer to correct. Yes. So 4. Now, before I finish up with that, I'm going to try one other thing. And granted, this is vellum, so you gotta kind of take this in stride. It does have 2 different sides, but this side doesn't really have much color. The gold side is very shimmery. So what I want to do though is I want to bring a little something from this to it. So I'm actually going to pull out and I'll see what this looks like. I think I'm going to do one of these smaller ones. I just want to stamp just like a little something. But again, just to keep a little bit of cohesiveness, I'm going to go back to the espresso. So give me just, shouldn't have put that away. I'm gonna put, so I have that little image. And let's see if I want it stamped off. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go with 2. So I'm going to stamp. And little thing. I don't know how long this is going to take to dry. And I'm wondering, does it need to be all the way across? I think I'm going to do it just for the heck of it, because I feel like if I only do part of it, it might not look great. I'm not going to re-ink. I'm just going to re-ink every other one. And I am going to kind of rotate it. All right, so we'll see. This is probably going to take a minute to dry. So when I put this on, I'm going to be really, really careful because I'm afraid I might smudge it. So we'll see how that goes. And then instead of doing the tone on tone, I think I'm going to do a little white strip for this one. So let me grab my white. Where are my white scraps? Okay, that'll be a good, just a little white strip there. And I think I'm going to do this one in, I'm going to do it in Evening Evergreen again. But let's see if we can pick a little bit different of a sentiment. And we're just trying to kind of go with something that's like slim, because you don't really want a big square image on something when we're going with this kind of slim feel. So we'll just lay that there. We do still need a little piece of ribbon. How about this? Sending this card for no particular reason. Because that seems like the perfect reason to send a card. This one I might need to actually grab a block that matches potentially. Let me see. I'm going to put this here. Okay. All right. I feel like one end of my, I must be very heavy-handed on the one end of my stamping. And I'm going to see if I can make this kind of lined up. And lined up near the bottom without hopefully jamming my head into your picture. Rats. Hold on. We're only going to use part of it, so I'm going to try to flip first, and then worst case scenario, I'll go to the other side. Much better. Okay. Oops, I just stuck my finger into that big glob of ink pad. All right, so I'm going to give this a second to dry, and then we'll do that. So I feel like probably we need a kind of a subdued ribbon. And I don't know, is it going to be too much green if we bring in this evergreen? No, it kind of might tie together. Maybe we'll use this little piece here. What you guys think? Because it kind of looks, do have a little bit of white. We'll have a very thin white sentiment with the gold and the green. I know it might seem like it's a lot going on, but I kind of think it'll work out nice. Let me trim. All right, this is, just in case you didn't know, the Evening Evergreen. I think this is a 3/8 chevron. Yeah, a 3/8 inch chevron weave ribbon. And the fact that I remember these ribbons is probably why I can't sleep at night, because I'm remembering the name of ribbons that I don't need to know the names of. Such a silly, silly girl. Okay. I also have to remember I have some scissors of my grandparents that I had sharpened, and I keep forgetting to go back and pick them up. I'm going to go get them today, later on today. They're really, really old, but they're super big, so I'm looking forward to, I'm going to take one pair into school to use for myself. So let's see. That's a little too big. That one's definitely too small. I'm going to go right about here and cut. So this looks like about 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to try to let this go and see if it stays in place. So sometimes when I have paper like this, when I'm trying to cut, instead of trying to start at one end or the other, what I will do is I will actually put it into the center and then hold my little piece down and cut up and down, because I find that if I start at the bottom, now this isn't all the time, but if I start at the bottom, it'll move it. So you might want to try that. I do that also sometimes with some DSP just so it doesn't rip. So just a little tip that you could try. And then I'm going to trim just this little piece off again. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to flag this. I feel like it's got a little bit more at the top than the bottom, but that's okay. That's how we're going to roll today. All right. So, all right. So what else? Let's see here. What about the sheer evergreen? Is that sheer ever? I think that one's sheer, that one's the, open weave ribbon. That's the soft succulent. I don't know that I have the sheer evergreen. Did I miss that one? Maybe I used it all, because I did order an entire extra bolt of the gingham because I really liked that. And the pool party, which this does clearly not coordinate with whatsoever. And I also got, this would be another one you could add, but I don't know how this would look with the organdy is really pretty too, because you could actually dye this a color as well. So there are definitely lots of choices, that's for sure. So sheer evergreen, I wonder, either maybe I missed that or, I don't know. Let me put this down. I did still keep this other little, I made 2 of these. And then I also cut this other evergreen. So maybe, I don't know if we'll put these together, but let's see. I'm going to put the cork paper down first. And I'm going to show you a trick with this vellum, just in case it's not dry yet. So with this paper, you either are going to want to use tear and tape, because I feel like when you put the tape runner on here, if you put a big strip, sometimes it can like jag it. So I'm going to go with the liquid glue again. Or you could use tear and tape, but you definitely, I didn't have this standing up, you definitely want to have a good amount of adhesive on this, just because you don't want it moving. And really, ooh, well, the ink wasn't dry on that. Note to self, remember to check your ink. Glad we had it centered where we wanted it, because it still was a little bit wet. I had a feeling that was going to happen, because it is a cork paper, so it probably takes a little bit. But I also like the fact that you have those little pieces in there. It's really authentic looking. It's super pretty. All right. Is this the one with the succulent with the evergreen instead, with the all on? Yeah, it looks good. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So same thing for this one. We just learned that lesson there. Vellum does take a little bit to dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to flip it over here, leave it in one spot and just press it. And what that will do is kind of absorb the extra ink that may not be dry yet. It wasn't very much, but that way we at least have something there that kind of blotted it off a little bit. So I'm going to pull the bigger one, bigger piece. Yeah, that chevron ribbon though is definitely not sheer. It's definitely got a deepness to it. Pull off this extra piece. Well, luckily this one probably is where I actually put these 2 pieces together. So instead of using a full half sheet, I was just piecing my adhesive sheet together, which those are crap scraps I will not throw away. My new word. New in color ribbons. Oh, okay, Cheryl. I didn't get them. You know, now that I think about it, I don't know that I did a ribbon share for the in colors, because I think I only had people wanted to participate with paper, so I might not have gotten that one. I bet you that's why. I'm going to need to go take a look at that now. Thank you, Cheryl, for clarifying. I appreciate it. Which is also, again, why I always like stamping with people, because if you miss something, they can, or if I miss something, they are usually very helpful. So thank you guys for doing that. I always appreciate your help. Don't feel like you're ever interrupting or taken over, because I would much rather have somebody answer than me not ever see the question and then it never gets answered. So thank you all for doing that. So for this, I'm just going to take a peek. That might be a little too much. I think I'm going to go with the same pattern as before. We have this. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one down. This one needs just a teeny bit of glue on the side. Put this together, kind of right there. So there's that one. And then this, so the vellum, here's another tip. If you want, you can also put a little strip of adhesive sheet on the vellum, and I'll show you what I mean. So the only thing is, because this is cut now, it does make it a little bit trickier to adhere to, but we'll make it work. I'm going to show you what I mean. So if you have your adhesive sheet, which this is a whole strip right here, and I wish this went the other way, because when it went the other way, it was so much easier to use. I'm just going to snip this little piece off. There we go. So the other paper that we had, what you could do is you could pick it up, and then you could put the piece down and you put the cover on it, because the adhesive was on here, but this one is the opposite, which kind of makes it a little bit of a, it's just not as user-friendly when you were used to doing it the other way. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to sit it on the edge here, hopefully lining it up. It's just when you have to do something backwards is the only thing that changes. And I'm going to strip, I'm going to push this down. So I do still have adhesive on here, but I'm just going to trim this piece out. So I'm going to cut right on the edge. And again, I'm sure everyone here has scissors that they just use for adhesive, that they just use for ribbon, etc., etc. You probably don't want to mix them because you don't want to get your scissors sticky, but I am just not exactly unlazy crafter. There's a good way to put me. So then I have adhesive on the whole back. So I'm just going to pull this release paper off. One thing with this, and I want to just tell you this because it didn't work. When you press this onto vellum, you want to use really your bone folder or something to really press it, because otherwise it doesn't stick quite as well. Sometimes it has a hard time gripping to the paper. We'll pull this off. Make sure it looks. Yep, and then, so now I have no adhesive on here, and then this whole piece is completely adhesived, if that's a word, and then you don't have to worry about your glue dots or whatever showing through. You can do that with any vellum, as by the way. So I'm going to kind of do my best to kind of eyeball where I want this before I press it. That looks pretty good, and then it is tiniest bit wet, but I'm just going to press it down just like that. Okay, so there's another little tip. Your scissors are all purpose. Yep, me too. I have my scissors for every occasion, right? Now for this ribbon, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use a little bit of tear and tape to put this down. And sometimes, depending on the ribbon, it can make it seem a little bit stiff. So this is kind of up to you. If you want to do the liquid glue route, you certainly can. But I also, just for speed, so you guys don't have to wait for this to dry as I hold it still. Same thing with your ribbon. When you're putting adhesive like tear and tape or something on it, really give it a hard press. Okay, and then let's see if I can nip off these couple little thready pieces. Okay. Right, so I'm going to remove that and pop this on. I'm just kind of eyeballing where I want it. Looks pretty good. All right. And we could even add this if we wanted to, just to the back of here. I don't really feel like it's adding too much to it, so I think we'll just do this as is. Yep, I'm just going to put this again onto another foam strip, and I'm actually going to do two, just because this piece is a little bit wider. So one, and one piece is going to be a teeny bit shorter than the other, but Oh no, well, oh no, actually I did pretty well. There we go. If for any reason you don't like the hard white edge of this, so hold on, let me make sure that's smooth. The hard white edge of this, you could outline this. So just to give it a little bit of something, I'm not going to go with black. I'm going to take basic gray and just outline the edge. And same on this side. There you go. Oops, wrong end. So there's that. And just kind of eyeball this. And I want to say, oh, that worked out perfectly. I wanted to line it up with this. I have a teeny piece of adhesive peeking out, I should say, not picking, but I'm not gonna trim it up. And I just have a lot of ink on my finger, so I don't want to smudge it. So there are those two. So they're kind of similar, but again, just, you know, a little bit extra steps. So 1020, I want to show you one more thing that you could do just in case. And I don't know if this is going to 100% work, but I figured why not? We'll just try it. So I'm going to take, and I know this one might be a little bit, oh, I'll grab my ruler off size wise. So this is 3 and 5/8 by 6, right? Yes, by 6. So what I'm going to do is I want to do one more thing really quickly. And I'm just going to stick with, I have a piece of crumb cake for this one. So this one kind of could be like a married version between the two. So it's kind of like, it's a little easy, but it's just a little bit different. So I have that. And I want to try the gold. So I want 2 7/8 by 4 3/4. Let's see if we can make this work. I don't know if it is going to work or not, but oops. And I think I might have just cut that a teeny bit crooked, but all right. So I'm going to do one more thing. So we have that. Let me grab, I have my adhesive sheet. So I'm going to do something really particular just so I make sure, is this in the right 2 7/8? So I have just a little scrap left. I still will save that. By 4 3/4. Hopefully this will make sense. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I'm trying to do this the simple way, so bear with me. It might seem like it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to take my adhesive. Remember, the sticky is on this side, so it's a little bit weird to put together. And if I would have used one whole sheet, it really wouldn't have fit because of the size of it. So I'm just piecing these two together. So here's that. Okay, so I have this vellum. All right, so this is trash. Then I'm going to put this, and I'm trying to see, what side do I want? So that would be, that's going in, this is going up. I'm going to put this into this folder, and I'm going to kind of just pick a spot to center it. I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. I'm going to have to do a little bit more die cutting because I didn't plan for this one, but I think it'll be cute. So this is Stampin' Up. Let's see which way this works. I think this is with, this might be with the 2. Hold on. Nope. Okay. So this one, if you still have a big shot, you're going to use your A plate and your blue plate special if you have it. If not, you kind of might have to figure out your sandwich, but let's see if it turned out. So I embossed this layer. And when you emboss it, the weirdest thing is, I don't know if you can or can't see this, but it really kind of makes the shimmery part of this really stand out. So it's very pretty. So I put this on the side. And let's see. So I'm going to stick with the same thing. I know maybe people are like, all right, enough with the black already, but I'm going to do the same thing again, only because I already have it out. So one other thing I have in here, in case you never have seen this before, so these are the folders that I use for the cards when I'm finished with them. But what I also do is I'll put all the extra pieces that I've die cut, and then I've been putting them into these folders. So it kind of helps like twofold. So we will do a bigger piece. So we'll do the bigger one with the evergreen, just because there's bigger piece of this left. So we'll put that one. And then for the black, we will do whatever this little plant is. I feel like it might be a ginkgo, but that's, I don't know, I could be wrong. And then we'll do the little, so we're kind of very much the same for this. Put this in here. For now, move this out of the way. All right, so I'm gonna die cut these, and this will kind of end up my paper. Again, remember, I have adhesive on the back of both of these. Where's my plate? I'm gonna run this through. Now, when I do this, what I do is I will put this through and I'll go back and forth because it will cut it, but it also helps to give that embossed impression to it. Okay, so, and they do come out pretty easily as well. That's a nice bonus. So there's one. We have this piece here. And if for some reason you want them to be a little bit more embossed, you can actually run it back through again. And they're pretty easy to line back up. So you could put it back through one more time if you really wanted to emboss it. But this is good enough for me. So I don't want to make you guys wait. At least I had part of it pre-done. So hopefully that saved a little bit of time. And finally, let's see, this one's gonna come out without any trouble. There we go. Oh, this one's already losing its backing. I'm gonna put that face up so it doesn't get stuck to anything I don't want it to. All right, so there is that. We are gonna still need our sentiment, and we do have, so we're gonna move this over. This is gonna be, so we have crumb cake base, and I'm gonna go ahead and adhere some of this, and we'll figure out. I'm gonna take off my adhesive backing. Remember, I have two different pieces. Oops, there's a little thinner strip. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball. What I tend to do with these, if you've noticed, is I'm going for the bottom, so we have that little thin strip like we did on the bottom, and then the side, and then kind of whatever happens on the top is gonna happen. That looks pretty good. And we're gonna just press. Here we go. So that's adhered, so we don't have anything to worry about. It's adhered and it's shimmery, so it's got a lot of wow to it with really not a lot of work for that part. So then we're going to put the green bigger piece on first. And let's see if I can pull it this way, it'd be easier. And then we'll add on our die cut layers. And I know this might be a little weird because you're like, it's pine bows, but really you don't really see Christmas. Now you all know what you're looking at because you know that you're making this with Christmas sets, but nobody else is going to probably even realize any of that. And then you will get to make something non-Christmassy with some of your Christmas stuff. Do the same for here. Okay, and then this one, I'm pretty sure we've kind of just been bringing this down pretty low. So let me pull this. I'm going to put a little, again, a little dot of adhesive. I keep missing this one. I'm consistent at least. I keep missing this one little leaf. Hi, Diana. You must have been in a Stampin' Cut mood when I made a card because I had a ton of stamp pieces I had saved using Forever Fern set. That's hilarious. I have a lot of them too, but not a lot of them, not the stamp part, just the die cuts. And you made some cards using at least 10 pieces. Hey, that's great. Yeah, you must have been. Maybe you were watching one of your favorite shows that you watch, one of your murder mystery shows, right? You were on a roll. You were probably cutting so much you didn't realize what you're doing. All right, so we have that. And I feel like this may need kind of a strong but plain piece of DSP, and I don't really think we have anything that is that dark. So I might go with, hold on, because I got a couple, maybe, I wonder what this would look like if we put a strip of that on there. I had a little piece layering left here. Yeah, I'm going to do this. So I'm going to cut a little piece, 3/4, again, 3/4 by 4. This one's going to have like all the textures and all the feels. There we go. Woke up early enough to get me live at 7:30. Whoo! You must be, I'm thinking, let's see, you are what, like Central Time then? 7:30, because it's 9:30 here on the East Coast. You're not a West Coast, because then it would have been crack of dawn. Sunrise stamping. Alright, so I'm just going to, trying to make this a little simpler, I'm just going to use tear and tape for our cork paper. The cork paper is really pretty. And the only thing that about the cork paper, just so you know, it does have some textural variances, and sometimes it's not, it seems like it's not really, I don't want to say that it's not a 12 by 12, but it seems a little bit weird because it's just a natural paper. So, not natural, but cork is a very varied product. I guess that's the best way to say. Texture. What is the word I'm looking for? Textile. Yeah. All right, so there's that. And wonder if, trying to think of like if something, I don't know, this kind of seems like it's coming to me, but I think this color with it is just going to be bonkers, so you don't have to laugh. Yeah, that's too, it wouldn't be so bad maybe if we had the soft succulent, but the evening evergreen and pool party are just not they're not a winning combo. How would this look? This same thing, a little bit of pale papaya. Actually, that kind of looks nice. We're going to go with that. So I'm going to do a little bit of pale papaya, and I'm going to attempt to cut this straight. I know this one has a corner to it, but I'm going to keep that. All right, that. All right, then we just have to figure out, so pale papaya, that was not one that anybody probably expected, myself included. And then we just need a sentiment. So let's see if we have one other. Oopsie. Oh, there they all went. Where's my bowl when I need it? I put it away. That's what happens when you clean up. Oh, don't mind me. Sorry. Things are falling. All right, I cleaned up just enough, but not quite enough. See, for what if we do hold on tight, and then we could add life is full of ups and downs on the inside. So same thing for this one. This will be another one where, so here's another way you can do it. another way that you can do it. Where was that other little piece I had? I probably threw out that little, oh no, here it is. This is the white strip I goofed on. I'm going to attempt to stamp it onto the other side. So just before I do, I'm going to smooth out the edges because the cut, my blade needs to be replaced. So it's oh goodness gracious, I just got a piece of adhesive on it. It's okay, we're doing it. All right, so I'm gonna do hold on tight, life is full of ups and downs. So I'm just gonna take one more no, I'm gonna do it the different way. I was trying to explain that before. So different way you can do this. I'm gonna grab my Evergreen Elegance, Evening Evergreen, good gracious, now I'm not even calling it right, and I'm just going to color in just the words I want. This also kind of ensures that you don't get a really wet stamp because you're not inking it, so I just want to make sure I got everything I wanted. So what you do is you ink the part of the stamp that you want, and then you do your Darth Vader move and you onto it and then stamp. So I'll see if I can line this up correctly because it's kind of hard to see when I'm sitting, but let's see. Miracle. The only thing I cut off was a little bit of the G. So we're going to do that. Then I'm going to wipe this off. And I'm going to do the other side, and I'm going to stamp the inside. Hopefully I stamp it straight. Let's see. Grab this once more. Missed a little bit. And then if you miss a little teeny spot, you can just wipe it with either your finger or if you had a really small towel. But there's that. Probably crooked. Surprisingly straight. That's a miracle in itself. So there's that one. And then I'm going to trim this to the edge. Do my little flagged part for this one. So if you haven't already, I would love for you to share this with someone. You can leave a comment. Facebook is a little harder to check the comments, but I do try to read as many of them as possible. They kind of get weird with your limits where they're only letting you do certain things. It's super strange, but that's Facebook for you, right? If you'd like to get any of these supplies and you don't already have a demonstrator, I would love for you to shop in my online store. You all are the reason that I am able to do what I do, so thank you so much for your support. If for some reason you haven't gotten a thank you card from me and you've placed an order with who you think is me in the past couple months, it could be that you didn't, because sometimes they've been having some issues with you think you're shopping with someone and you're not. So I truly do appreciate your support. I do send thank you cards, but I have not been sending very many out. Now maybe you haven't been buying, which also is perfectly acceptable. I got that. You know, I think I wanted to do this way. I did, and I goofed it up. I'm going to change, you know what? I'm going to cut it because I want it to go down. I wanted it to go down because it looked better that way. So just kind of keep that in mind. Unfortunately, they changed a lot of the stuff with their online store, which sometimes makes it confusing for people who think they're shopping with people and then come to find out they're not. Because I've also gotten a few people's orders from people I have absolutely no idea who they are. And I'm sure they are somebody else's customer, but I did send them a thank you. But I am trying to maintain my sales, and they definitely have drooped. So if you all have anything you want to get, I would love for you to shop in my online store. There is a host code here that you can use. I believe it's still here at the top. Hold on, I will tell you. We're working on our Holiday Helper project. I don't know if you have ever participated in it before, but it's something we do that is 100% free. So if you would like to get on that list, let me know. We don't send out the PDFs until usually around, I believe it's like October is when we finish. But basically we have 12 or sometimes 13 different projects, and we send you one. Well, I send them about one a day for about a week. I feel like maybe this needs to line up with that. Let's see what that looks like better that way. Yeah, I don't know if this would be if I have this one set here and that one's there. So I'm going to keep all these lined up the same. But we have all these projects, and it should hopefully make your holiday crafting easier if you like to make little gifts for your family and friends. They're usually, there's ornaments. Sometimes people do mini books. It's different every year, but they're all very, very talented ladies that we work with. It's a group, and we all submit our tutorials, and then we share them. So if you would like to get in on that action, I will be taking sign-ups for that soon. If you are on my email list already, no worries, you're already included, so you don't have to re-sign up. But if you're new, you can head over to my blog, and if you opt in to my email list, I will automatically send it to you when it's time. If you are new here in general and you haven't seen me in a while, first of all, my name is Rachel from Rachthestamper.com, and you can find all of these supplies in my online store I do try to go live once a week, but with back to school, it's been a little bit difficult. But I hope you guys like these products. Amy, if you're on my email list, you're already signed up, so you should be good. And Jewel, I believe for some reason you were already signed up because I feel like I sent it to you last year. So if you're already on my email subscription and you get my newsletters, which I haven't sent out a lot lately because there has been not a ton of new stuff going on to share. If you're already on there, then you're good. You'll get one, so no worries. I'm just going to go through really quickly. Thank you, Darcy and Diana. I appreciate it. And Donna. I'm going to just check and make sure I didn't miss any really super holiday helper. Yep. And so it'll be 12, maybe 13 projects, and we'll send one. I usually send one a day for 12 or 13 days in a row. So let's see. Okay, and Sherry. Oh, it's so nice seeing you all. And Cindy. And thank you for joining. I know I had a couple Aussies on here today, so thank you for watching. And it was in the evening. It was chilly, so maybe this made you warmed your heart up a little bit. You say all the stuff you say only to yourself. That's so funny, Brene. You know what? I do too when I'm in here and I'm not filming. I still talk to myself. So, yes, Donna, I did get your Stampin' storage. And I do have a Stampin' storage link if you'd like to get any other. They have a couple great supplies things going on for organizing your stamps. So, just in case. Sherry's in Oregon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sherry is the one that woke up early. And Cindy, you guys are all on the West Coast. And Sue, my goodness gracious. Thank you for all my Pacific timers watching me over there. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday. We're going to go have some fun at a birthday party later. And then I think it's supposed to be kind of stinky here on Sunday. So if we don't have any plans, I might try and go live again on Sunday. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope you like all these cards. And thank you for joining me to make this a little bit more interactive and fun. And thanks, Sue, for telling me that you had a lot of fun today, because that makes me happy, because it's definitely much more fun crafting with friends than by yourself. So I will see you guys again soon. I do try to post the day before when I know I'm going to go live, so just keep your eye on it. If you're subscribed to me here at Rachthestamper, you should get a notification that I will be going live. So thank you guys once again for joining me. I'll see you again real soon.